welcome back. Day 3, Kenney and the coaches, live at the Oklahoma Coach Association Clinic. Today, I've been doing a bad job of this, if I can get my computer to come up. All-state games today, actually tonight, we have the wrestling all-state game at Catoosa High School starting at 7, and the boys all-state game at Memorial Veterans Arena at Tulsa Memorial High School. The small school boys starts at 6, and the large school starts at 7:30-ish. We all know those games kind of go up and down a little bit. Excited to be joined today by Brian Lester. He's Assistant Director. Make sure I get all this right. Assistant Director since 2022?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Of the OSSAA. Thanks for visiting with me a little bit today.
You bet. It's my pleasure.
Now, for those, I guess I was trying to think of how to word this last night when I was wanting you to explain. I was going to say like your Cliff Notes version or OSSAA for dummies, but I didn't want to make a bad saying on OSSAA. How would you describe the OSSAA to people who might not know what you guys do?
So we oversee all the activities for our membership schools, which is 480. I think we've got 26 private schools and all the public schools in Oklahoma. As far as the playoffs in athletics, we oversee the rules and things like that, eligibility rules, academic and residential. We're kind of the NCAA of high school for Oklahoma.
That's why, whenever I first started coaching, it was kind of one of those things. I got into coaching later, and I really didn't know anything about organizations, or it was just a bunch of letters. I didn't know what was what.
It's when you're in the world, everyone just knows. But a couple years ago, we changed churches and we started attending a new church, and people would say, "Hey, what do you guys do?" And I'd say, "I work for the OSSAA," and they'd be like, "Well, what's that?"
How would you describe how you guys and the other organizations work together, like with this week, with the Coaches Clinic?
So this is a big week for us. We put on a lot of the our rules meetings for the fall, a couple rules meetings. We do basketball rules meeting as well, but we work with the OSSAA. It gives us an opportunity to get in front of the coaches, and it gives them an opportunity to have us speak, because, as you know, all the rules meetings for the head coaches are mandatory. And, in this day and age, we do a Zoom as well, but this is an opportunity to help draw more people to the OSSAA clinic for the OSSAA. So it's a benefit for both of us.
I'm sure you guys probably get a lot of questions after the meetings are over. I mean, just like, why are we doing it this way? Why are we doing it this way? It's a thankless job you guys do, and it's much appreciated, even though I'm sure you don't hear that a lot.
It's not too bad. I think people understand how big the job is and how important it is, and bottom line is you try to do what's right, and a lot of people don't understand that we are a membership driven organization. The policies and rules, really the staff, we're not writing those per se. The board is going to they're going to put new policy in. They have to vote on those. Any type of new rules, that's going to have to be voted on by the membership. And then we're just there to make sure everyone's following those rules and protocols that are set forth by the membership. So a lot of times, coaches don't even understand the process of, hey, if we want to see a change, what's the process? And, there's a lot of changes year to year that people don't understand where they come from. A lot of it is through the advisory coaches boards.
Yeah.
They recommend something, and then obviously it still has to go to the board. But a lot of times, if you're getting a lot of support for a change, the OSSAA is going to make that.
Now, when I was looking through the OSSAA website, I just need to slow down a little bit. I was looking at all the different positions you guys have, and a lot of you guys, it says sharing or eligibility responsibilities. What is that just towards? Because I saw there was an academic eligibility. There were people that were over that, and then just eligibility in general. Why is that such a? Because it was like 4 or 5 people, if I'm not mistaken, that share that responsibility. Why is that such a big?
Yeah. So let me discuss academic eligibility. Really, academic eligibility is on the schools to follow. Of course, they have the rules. They've got to make sure. Now, if something comes up and there's a report that maybe there was an academically ineligible player that played, then we will reach out. But it's a self-governing body. And then we have what's called residential eligibility. And so used to, you got to, well, back when I first started, this was 7th through 12th grade. You could not change schools without moving, without, a compelled reason that really you had no choice but to change schools. And then I think it was 2015-ish, somewhere in there, they decided, okay, you're not going to establish eligibility until your 9th grade year, so 7th and 8th grade, you're going to be eligible as long as you're academically eligible for the most part. And then in 2015, you established with your 9th grader. Well, and then a couple years ago, we came up with that one-time change of schools. So now because there's been more movement and legislatively it looked like it was going that direction. So we kind of got out in front and we wanted to do that. We didn't want legislatively having to act on that. We would rather that come from the membership. So now, I think last year we processed, it was about 1,300 hardships. So because of that, so what happens in those is I have A through E, so I'll start the hardship process because it's just so overwhelming how many there are last year. So Mr. Jackson thought last year we had 3 people who oversaw it. This year we added another person and scaled it down just because, I will tell you, when we got back around after Dead Week, all I did for one full week, every minute of the day I was at work, and then when I would get home and start processing these waivers, and so they can become a little overwhelming. So, but what happens, people don't understand this. So I start the process on A through E, and then it has to go to another person. And then so at least 2. If it's 2 yeses, they get it. If it's 2 no's, a third person has to see it. So it's a long process, and it takes a lot of eyes. We want to get everything right. We want to make sure whatever the membership has put in place as far as the policy and the criteria, that we're following that. And so that's why there's so many people that oversee that.
As you were saying all this, I was thinking, you guys not only have to keep up with the stuff that you guys have in place, but I bet it's hard to try to stay ahead of the curve when things are coming. Because I wasn't going to put you on the spot about the transfer stuff, but that's going to be something I think is going to have to change every year almost. Because people will find ways to get around this, that, and the other.
100%. As you know, this is the school business, and the overwhelming majority are going to follow the rules and try to do what's right. And, so like I said, it's a self-governing body. I mean, there's 8 people that are directors that are overseeing all of our activities and eligibility. We don't have time. I mean, we don't have time to go out like the NCAA does and, interview and do all those things constantly. So
probably not enough money in it either.
and I'll tell you, this is not an Oklahoma thing. This is across the country. I mean, every state is seeing, I would say now probably the majority of states have some type of move that you can have. There are some states that wherever you go to school, you're eligible. And you can transfer 3 times in a year. So, I mean, Florida, their rules are a little different, and their legislative body got involved about 6 years ago over something, and it's just constantly changing there. So, we have it pretty good here.
I was going to say, it could be worse. That sounds like a big time headache. Now, I mean, aside from that, you've got other responsibilities too. I mean, you've got 4A to B in basketball. You're over spirit, cheer, esports, tennis. Has esports, it seemed like whenever esports first kind of came out, that it was like really big. Do you think it's kind of leveled off with the
the growth has leveled off a little bit, but it's still growing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just not growing at the rate it was the first couple of years. But it is a growth, and we're getting more people every year. But I think after the first couple of years, it was like skyrocketing straight up, and now it's just kind of more of a linear going up. So
of all the years, I was going to ask you a couple other questions, but I'll let you get out of here. Of all the years you've been coming to the Coaches Clinic, what's the most enjoyable part of it for you?
Just getting to meet new people, talking to people, trying to learn, even though I'm not in the coaching business anymore, I still love talking to the coaches. I love getting to know I want to learn. I always say I'm never going to say never getting back, because there's always, you watch something, you listen to somebody, you watch a movie, whatever it might be, there's that itch of, hey, do I want to go back and do that? But I love just getting to sit down with different coaches and talk to them about whatever it is, life, how they I still will ask a basketball coach, hey, how do you attack this type of zone? I always struggled against a 3-2, and I always was like, your team's never struggled against my 3-2, so how do those types of things. So that's what I enjoy the most, is just getting to talk to people and just hang out, people that are similar to you.
Now, the first day I asked everybody I had on a Mount Rushmore question. Well, I'm not going to do that. Yesterday I gave people a choice of picking one or two. I'm not going to do that. The one I have today, I don't know how popular this one will be, and may have to make you think a little bit about it. Aside from a school that you've coached at, which school in Oklahoma has the coolest mascot?
Oh, that's a Grant Gower question, because he can tell you the mascot of every single school in the state.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know.
Yeah. All right. I'll let you off on that one. Since you got a bent out of it a bit. Well, I'll call you Coach. I appreciate you coming on with me. Good luck, and try to get some rest whenever you can with all this stuff.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Be back here at 9:45 with another OSSAA Assistant Director, Lenny Hatchett. See you guys then.